Do it. Hit record.
It is recording.
Nice.
We are now in the webinar.
This is going to be the hook for the video when it goes online. It is now recording. Problems or profits? Oh no, I almost forgot my...
Oh, your light.
My red light.
Yo.
It's got green for the Rolex, but I don't like the green.
It's more turquoise, to be honest.
Oh, it's a gray wall, so green plus gray must be turquoise. Blue's fire.
Blue's good. Yeah.
No, I was digging the green actually. Damn.
No, you weren't. I don't like it. You think?
Yeah, dude, I like it. I don't know. I
See,
guess
the thing is that I got a whole other light string too. So like when I get the other piece there, it might actually make sense to be green. I'm going to go for red tonight though.
All right, Joe, since you're on.
Yep, I'm on.
How are you, Joe?
I'm doing all right. And yourself?
I am fantastic. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure we don't say anything crazy tonight that gets you in any shit, because I'm well aware that you guys are regulated by all sorts of rules that I don't have to follow. So I'm going to probably just be doing the question asking type of talk tonight, where I'm just like, here's what I do. I actually have no fucking idea how Joe and Shahir work together, but that's great because they know what they're doing. Tell us about it. And we'll make it exciting for everybody and hopefully make it informative. And then, yeah, I am genuinely interested as well to hear how you guys have been doing things and what that's been like for you, and hopefully hear a bit about how your business has been growing working with us. So that should be exciting.
Sweet.
Awesome, guys. I'm going to start letting people in.
We should have like a little countdown thing for like 5 after on the future ones, so that everybody kind of knows. Like we can screen share and have it count down.
Yeah.
Because that might just be a better way to do it, and we can just brand it, like do a countdown branded with the pop thing.
Yeah, I like that. Should we do a countdown timer?
If you want. But also we have like the new graphic design guy that was hired, right? He can make that shit for us. So
yeah, very true.
Just for the next one, maybe that would be cool.
Okay, awesome. Is there a song that you guys want to hear?
We're gonna get copyright fucking striked on YouTube if we do.
True. Okay,
You'd have to
I
do
won't do
something
that.
that's no copyright.
I can.
Meh. All right.
Maybe we'll do
All right, we're going live. We're going live. Let's go.
Oh no, we're live.
We're live. Here we go. People are coming.
Should we do the wholesaling chant?
No, we can't be doing the wholesale chant.
That'd be sweet.
If we can't be doing.
What's going on, everyone? My name is Rebecca Lynn Matheson, and I'm joined by Adam JD Martin today, as well as Shahir and Joe Huey. And today we're going to be having a really great conversation, diving deep to talk a little bit about wholesalers versus realtors. And we're going to get started with this chat in the next 4 minutes. We're going to allow for people to hop on. So thank you guys all for joining us on this Wednesday night Problems or Profits webinar. We'll get going shortly. I hope you're all having a fantastic night. And just a reminder, guys, we would love to see your faces. So make sure that you do actually put on your cameras. I want you guys reacting. Feel free to, comment in the comments, the chat box. Make sure that you use those little emojis, the reactions. You can do like hearts, you can do smiley faces, thumbs ups. Once we make a point that you like, make sure you throw that back at us, just so that we know how you guys are feeling. Make sure that you guys are actually alive and listening and engaged. So make sure you toss your camera on, and also do not be afraid of the reaction feature. All right, let's see who we have on here tonight. What is going on, Eric? We got Rob, Yo, Rob, what is good? Who else do we have? Natalia, Heaven, Heaven. How do you say that? Is it Heaven or Heaven?
It's Heaven.
Heaven. Oh, Heaven. What a name, man. What a name. We've got Cody here. We've got Trey. Juan, how's it going? Andrew. Matheson. What is good? Matheson. Myers.
Matheson, this guy is everywhere. Oh my
Right?
God.
Man, I don't know if y'all know, but Matheson and I actually met on a walk. So it was like when I very first got into real estate investing, I was actually like out like looking at houses and like all excited about door knocking and stuff. I'm like, what even is this? And then I saw Matheson out on his porch and we just started talking, and he had like a couple of investment properties already. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, we need to talk more. So, you know, Matheson actually like showed me some renovations that he had done. He started talking a little bit about like where he's at in real estate investing and what he wants to accomplish. And I was like going off about like Matt McKeever and Cashflow Tribe and like all of the things that we're doing with wholesaling. And here we are today. And Matheson is now also in council and Cashflow Tribe, which is sweet.
That's
That was
awesome.
one of the sweetest, blessed days I've had is meeting her.
That's amazing.
Told you we were going to be BFFs.
Hell yeah, we're name twins. Your first name is my last name. My last name is your first name.
Matheson and
is
Matheson.
amazing. I totally
Unstoppable.
forgot that story. I just thought you've always been here, Matheson, because I see you every day. So
Got to stay involved.
yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, one more minute here, guys, and we'll get started. Just want to let everybody join.
Absolutely. Who else do we got on here? We got Martin May in the house. What's going on, Martin? And Mosin right beside you. You guys are like side by side in your little box.
Yo, what's going on?
What is good? Hey,
Two
make
new
sure
members.
I wanna test out that reaction feature. Can you all give me a thumbs up?
Does it work?
There we go. Nice. All right, it works. It works. Good. Perfect. I love it.
That's amazing.
All right, cool guys. Well, we'll let a few more people trickle in here. It's going to be a hype night tonight. We've got a really good chat coming up for y'all. So just for your guys' background knowledge, my name is Rebecca Lynn Matheson. I actually got into the real estate investing world just last September. So I actually transitioned from the fitness industry over to real estate investing to join a team of wholesalers who are doing some absolutely crazy stuff in real estate. And I'm joined by a few of them today. So I'm really excited to be having this chat and discussing a little bit more about how it all works in that relationship between a wholesaler and a real estate agent. So what we're going to do tonight here is I'll just go through a quick little introduction of all of the parties that we have who are going to be speaking today. And what I'll do here too is I'm just going to give you guys a rundown of the agenda, just so you guys know kind of the setup and the lay of the land and know what to expect. And then we'll get right into this fantastic chat. So just to start, again, my name is Rebecca Lynn Matheson. You can find me on Instagram here at Rebecca Lynn Matheson. And my co-host today, Adam JD Martin. You can also find Adam on all of the social platforms. So across the social platforms, his handle is Adam JD Martin, as is on the screen right now. So my co-host is an absolute rock star in real estate investing. He's done some really creative vendor take back deals. He's done flips, you know, he's done Airbnbs, house hacking, you name it. So he has a wealth of knowledge, both from his own personal experience in real estate as an investor, but he's also the owner, one of the co-owners and CEO of our wholesaling business. So just last year alone, he's actually written over 1,000 offers in real estate. So he is our contract specialist, and he does all of the paperwork on the back end, which we are very grateful for. And what Adam also does is he runs the company. So he's actually taken this company all the way up to 7 figures in the past year. And we're going to be continuing to expand on that this year, and we have a fantastic 8-figure goal. So one of the things to note too about Adam is he actually is an educator on Cashflow Tribe, which is the largest and fastest growing platform of real estate investors all across Canada. So Adam, if you want to give a little bit more background information on yourself, and then we'll talk a little bit about our special guest today.
Awesome. Thank you everybody for joining us again for another Problems or Profits webinar. This is quickly becoming one of the favorite things that I do every single week. And that's mostly because I'm getting a lot of exposure on these calls to some people that I haven't yet been able to see. Okay, so you'll see that we've got actually pretty good working relationships with a lot of people on the call. We're actually on first name basis with quite a few people that I can see in the lobby. And actually a lot of my team members are here, which is really cool for me as well. But this talk every Wednesday at 6 actually gives me the opportunity to introduce myself to new people out there in the world that are hungry to learn about real estate investing and hungry to learn about wholesaling and negotiations, offer writing, contracts, lead generation, whatever it may be, or maybe some of the various strategies like the BRRRR method and flipping. You know, whatever you guys are here to learn about, and if you come back and tune in every single week for us, it's a great opportunity for me to have this one-to-many conversation with you guys and get you guys involved more in the community that is really all of these investors that have come together here in Southwestern Ontario and really now, I guess, all across Ontario to talk about this subject. So I've been doing this for 3 years. And inside that time, like Rebecca mentioned, I've had the opportunity to do probably a decade of real estate. I've done the BRRRR method, I've done a flip, I've done short-term rentals, I've done Airbnb re-rental, I've done student rentals, I've done house hacking, and I've got one of the most interesting vendor take-back mortgages anybody's ever heard of. Okay, my very first deal was a 96% loan to value vendor take-back at 3% for 13 years. Okay, so I was able to get into a property almost 100% financed for 3% locked for 13-year term. And then I borrowed the remaining 4% at 0% interest. So my very first deal, I got into it with absolutely none of my own capital and secured that position for a 13-year term, insulated from all outside risk, like any fluctuations in the market. So very exciting what I've been able to do. And I really do give a lot of thanks and a lot of credit to my mentor, Matt McKeever. Okay, he's actually taught me just about everything I know in this space. And together we've worked to create different strategies and more dynamic strategies that are more suitable and more suited for the modern world and the modern real estate investors. So that's how we got here today. Okay, so for the last 3 years, I've been the owner and operator of our wholesaling company. And this year we started really taking it seriously. Okay, so this year I've actually been able to grow the team from 6 wholesalers up to, I think now we've got 12 people in the whole company. We incorporated in March, and since then we've been able to do about $1.8 million in assignment fees. And that's with almost no overhead and running this company extremely lean. Okay, so we've actually been taking advantage of a lot of very interesting marketing and lead generation strategies that a lot of our competitors can't afford to do, first of all, and are not willing to do. And so one of the reasons why we did that is we understood that scaling the unscalable is one of the best ways that you can beat your competition, because they're just simply not willing to do what we're willing to do, right? We've sent just over 400,000 flyers this month, okay, for real estate investing. Now you're probably thinking, that's a unethical, unbelievable amount of trees. So don't worry, we're actually going to be replacing all the trees we're using this year. So we're going to be planting a bunch of trees to replace all those, because we were like, holy shit, we're burning through hundreds of thousands of flyers a month. So we figured we should clean up our act on that front, but it really is effective. But sometimes we're not able to, for as many buyers as we have, right? Because wholesaling is this art of lead generation and having the right number of buyers and the right level of attention to be able to actually dispose of that deal once you get the contract. And so one of the challenges we've faced as an organization is if you send out 400,000 flyers, you're going to get a lot of calls. Okay, how many calls? Well, this month we're up to about 1,300 inbound calls. Okay, so that's a lot of leads being generated. Now, if you've got great strategies for taking those inbound calls and converting them into offers and walkthroughs, you can then end up with a lot of accepted contracts. Okay, and you're going to actually see some of those contracts tonight when Rebecca presents some of the deals that we currently have for inventory. But the reality is that we can't always sell those deals. Okay, we can't always find the right buyer. And that's why we wanted to reach out and start building great, deep relationships with other power team members in our niche and in our industry. So that's why you'll see we've got fantastic strategic relationships with our lawyers. We've got fantastic strategic relationships with our lenders. Okay. And of course, what tonight's about is developing fantastic strategic relationships with the realtors. Okay. There's a common misconception online and at networking events and basically anywhere you want to look in this space that wholesalers and realtors are natural enemies. Okay. They can't coexist, but that's ridiculous. Okay. The amount of volume that is moving right now in the real estate industry in Ontario is staggering. You could never, ever, ever wrap your mind around how much money is moving in this space based on real estate volume of sales. And then even if we turn around and look at realtors commissions, okay, at 4 or 5% of a rip on hundreds of millions of dollars every year, it's staggering. Okay. So there's absolutely no shortage of business. There's no shortage of real estate transactions. And there's actually no shortage of circumstances that would lead somebody to want to work with either a realtor or a wholesaler. Okay. There's actually a whole bunch of different criteria that a seller will run through and a whole bunch of different reasons and motivations why they would want a ton of visibility. Okay. Often that's just to get the best price. Okay. I want the best price. And to do that, I'm going to expose my property to the largest number of eyes and get the most attention, because that number of people is likely to have more financial resources than any one individual. Okay. So that's why some people list, and they also may want a white glove service where there's a listing service like MLS. There's oftentimes professional photography involved. Oftentimes, they're doing a lot of the work for you, like arranging the paperwork and things like that. And then there's also the people out there that want to work with us so that there aren't all of those eyes on their property. There aren't people scrutinizing their business. There aren't people necessarily coming through on walkthroughs and doing all that stuff. So it's very important to understand, just before we even have this conversation about how do we work with Joe, who is Joe and how do we work with them, right? And imagine Joe as any other realtor, right? The reason why we're working with Joe is because there are many times where we run into a seller that has a set of circumstances that we will not be the best buyer for, right? And we may just not even have access to the best buyer. And that's when we're more than happy to work with somebody like Joe, who's going to put in the work and show up for us and be a great representative for his clients at that point. And so it fosters a really interesting, creative, dynamic relationship where we can both work together and have it be mutually beneficial. So without further ado, I introduce to you guys Joe Huey, who works together with Shahid on my team. And these guys are cranking deals all the time. And from what I understand, Joe, I think we've helped you grow your business as a realtor. So I would love to hear from you all about that, because I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this is my first time meeting Joe. Okay, I have no idea how many deals we've done with Joe, but it's been a lot. And I don't even know. So I'm here as much as you guys to learn tonight about how we work with Joe and how that's working out, as well as how we can do this more often on more deals with more people. I'm sure there's lots of realtors in the room and probably even some haters. So I'd love to get through this talk. And then if you guys have questions, concerns, comments, whatever, drop it in the chat and we'll try our best to answer any of those. So, and then of course, after that, we've got Rebecca. She's going to show you off some private deals that we've actually got under contract right now. So Joe, let's hear it, buddy.
All right. So hello, everyone. I'm Joe Huey. I work with Remax Center City in St. Thomas. And Shahir has been a off and on client of mine since February of this past year. We've closed several deals together, and I think the easiest way to describe how we work together is a client professional relationship. So whenever I have a deal that I'm wanting to assign to Shahir, well, not even assign, but to get for Shahir, I will go through all the paperwork on my side, see if he's interested like I would with a normal client. And we just have to make sure the clauses in our contract fit what he needs for. And one of the biggest ones is assignment, financing, and inspection. So those are the three clauses you want in most of your deals. Now, there are some instances where the seller won't pay the commission, and that's where Shahir and I will work on the side, and we'll split either a wholesale fee, or forgive my phone, or we'll figure out a way to incorporate it into the deal itself. So one of the ways I've worked with Shahir is we've negotiated the contract price, and then we've added on the commission on top of that. And then we make the deal all together, so it's all combined. So the seller still walks away with the amount of money that they were looking to get, and Shahir still doesn't have to pay the commission on top of the financing fees or the assignment fees. The other way we work it is we'll go through expired listings, and I'll contact other real estate agents and see if they're still interested in selling, because these houses have no competition on them now. And the rest of the deal would work the exact same way it would as an on-market deal, except no competition. And that's when I'm bringing the deals to Shahir. On the other side of that, when Shahir brings me a deal, we find a way to make the deal work on my buyer side of it. So I'm getting my buyers the best possible price. And then I explain to them that there's a wholesale fee on top of the purchase price. And we try to negotiate that into the mortgage. And when you're using a mortgage broker, they can easily work that into the deal. And so there's no cash out of hand for them. That's above and beyond what they would normally pay for the house. 2 seconds. On top of that, we have also worked it out so if it's an off-market deal altogether and it's a for sale by owner that I come across and I recommend to Shahir, I represent him as if he is my client, and we work through the deal basically backwards. And we find someone we can assign it to, or we find someone that can go straight through on the deal itself. And either Shahir will work out a wholesale fee, like a finder's fee for them on the side, and then I'll work the deal straightforward with the seller. The other option we have is that Shahir goes through and he still assigns it to them directly after he's got the house under contract. And then again, we just split the either the wholesale fee, or I take a commission off the top of the sellers. So overall, we can work together by finding the best deals possible for Shahir as a buyer, or working it so I can find my buyers the best possible deal with no competition through Shahir.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you've highlighted a couple of fantastic points here, Joe, just how flexible and agile you've been in adapting to different situations and making it work for everyone. Now, I would actually love to hear a little bit more about Joe and about how you actually got into real estate. I know you mentioned that you've been doing construction and different projects since you were like 4 years old. So I want to hear a little bit about your background, Joe, and I want to hear a little bit more about what really motivated you to get into real estate and how you actually got started with Shahir.
All right, so we'll start with this simple answer first. The way I got into real estate is I was working at the LCBO. I had been there for 15 years. I was full-time and top seniority in my group, so I literally had any job that I wanted when it came available. However, because of that and the amount of work that I had actually done through the LCBO, I destroyed my body. So I had essentially no choice but to change careers, or I'd end up crippled by the time I was 40 years old and walking, well, not even walking anymore. I would have been in a wheelchair. So I switched careers and got into real estate, which is something that I've always been connected with since, like Rebecca said, since I was 4 years old. And I'd always wanted to do since I bought my first house in 2007. So I finally made the jump in 2018 and had all my courses and everything else done and got my license in October. Excuse me. And then in 2019, in February, I switched brands and went to Remax. Haven't looked back since then. I love the Remax brand. And then my first year was a bit rough. It was a little slow for me, but I was still making progress and I was doing it full time. I ran into one of Shahir's letters that he sent in the email, sent through snail mail. And I contacted him just to make sure that he wasn't trying to essentially scam people out of their house and home, and that he was offering fair prices for houses. When I asked for an estimate on my house, he gave me a value that was roughly in the ballpark of where my house should sell for. And he even recommended that because there wasn't much work to do, that I should sell on market instead of going through a wholesaler if I'm looking for the best possible value. And from that point on, we connected on a more equal standing after we met at Coffee Culture here in St. Thomas. And we worked out a way to try and get more listings for not only myself, but also that Shahir could get under contract and assign more. And it took a couple of contracts to figure out the best combination of not only conditions, but also seeing what vendor takebacks and stuff like that would work and what areas they would work in. And we found that most homeowners will not want to do the vendor takeback. However, it is possible to still find one or two that will, depending on their circumstance. So it takes building a relationship not only with myself and Shahir, but also with whoever we're dealing with to get the full scope of what they want and making it work as best as we can. Going back to why I got into real estate, again, like I said, I was destroying my body and I needed something where I could still support my family and have time to do all of that stuff too. And it just seemed like the best possible solution, especially since I'd wanted to do it for so long. Mind me jumping around, my thoughts are kind of jumbled.
No, this is great, Joe. And one thing that you had talked to Shahir and I about was a little bit about the numbers that you had done. So tell us a little bit about how many properties you actually did in 2018 and 2019 and now 2020 and beyond.
All right, so in 2019, I only recorded about 6 deals for the year. In 2020, I recorded 28 deals, and about a quarter of that was with Shahir. And with Shahir, once we figured out our method of getting things done, we had, I think our approval rating for getting offers done is better than 50% for actually getting houses under contract.
That's awesome. Yeah, and so tell me a little bit about like the offer itself. So you said that you had done a little bit of testing, beta testing with some different clauses. So how did working, I guess, with a wholesaler actually allow you to figure out some of those clauses? Tell me a little bit about that.
I've always been known for writing some of my own clauses and just getting as much legal speak as I can into it. But with Shahir, there was a lot more of a defined process. Like with the vendor takebacks, there's very specific language that has to be in it for it to work. Same with the assignment clause. There's very specific language that has to be in it. And if it's not there, then you leave yourself open for any kind of ramifications. So making sure the wording is done properly is always the biggest part of what you need. And as we were going, we doing deals with other realtors as well. They would help critique some of the clauses and stuff like that, but they're more open to work with a real estate agent rather than someone who's not in the business. So on the real estate side of things, when you're dealing with another agent, they are more open to deal with a real estate agent than they are with someone who's investing or wholesaling.
Yeah, there's a couple of things you said there that were interesting in the as part of the last questions there. And one of the things you said was that it's a topic that I just posted about on my YouTube channel, which is about like people attacking price, right? And so you decided to work with Shahir because he actually informed you that you would be better off to actually sell your house on the market just due to the condition that it's in. And I think that's a common misconception that people seem to get in their head about the real estate wholesaler. And I think it's probably not unfounded. I think there's probably good reason that people think this way and have that impression, is that a lot of real estate wholesalers and investors are approaching negotiations from a perspective that is completely price centric, right? Where price is the biggest thing they want to attack. But one of the biggest things that we talk about on my team is actually be people centric, right? Focus on the why and really focus on what would motivate somebody to actually have a discussion with you on this day about selling your house, right? Because nobody wakes up and decides to sell their house. That is an impossible thing to do. Okay. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars being transacted with, and the largest investment that almost anybody will ever have. Okay. You're probably not going to have an asset larger or more valuable than your primary residence in your life as an average Canadian. There's just no way. So you don't wake up, hey, it's Wednesday morning in January, I'm going to sell my house today. It's not a thing that happens. So what likely is the case though, when you talk to a seller for the first time, is they've thought about it, and they haven't thought about it for a day or 2 days or a week. They've probably been thinking about it for months. And especially the people that we talk to a lot, which it's typically going to be distressed houses, right? Houses where we actually can go in and add a ton of value, whether that's strategic renovations like kitchens, bathrooms, flooring, paint, electrical, landscaping, all those other things. And sometimes it's fully like fundamentally beat up houses, like the roofs are bad, they're leaking, there's water damage, there's structural issues. So we see it all. And one of the things that's just true of most of our sellers is they've had the conversation with their friends, with their family, with people they know that are realtors, right? I always do make fun of the realtor position because there's a trillion. I always say there's a trillion, or what I really like to say is there's more realtors in Ontario alone than there are pebbles of sand on the earth. Okay. There's a billion, there's trillions of them, and everybody can get that license. Now it's a little bit harder, but it's so easy to have. And the reality is that every industry, every business, every strategy has Pareto's law at work, right? 20% of the people are going to be doing 80% of the results and the work. And so it's very easy to pull out, bad misconceptions about either group. But one of the worst things that people think about when they think about the real estate investor or the landlord or the wholesaler is this fixation on a low price or a low ball offer. And you just don't need to do that. When you focus on the person's why and understand what brought them to the table to actually discuss selling their home today, you can really get some creative solutions and find some profits out of those problems that they're experiencing. Because a lot of people are talking to you instead of calling. And again, it's actually genius, Joe, that you're with Remax, because I always reference the blimp. Every single Canadian in the country can tell you what that brand is. Okay, it's synonymous with a realtor, right? The blimp is probably the most well-known icon in real estate. It's just the most well-known brand out there. So why wouldn't they call the blimp? They've known it for as long as they've been alive. And so there's many opportunities to call the blimp. And as a wholesaler, you're on the phone with somebody that decided not to. Well, there's a reason. Discover that reason, right? They may have a misconception about working with realtors. Oh, I don't want to pay their fee. Okay, that's interesting. Why not though? Well, they're charging too much. Okay, but if they could actually get you more money than what they're charging in terms of their fee, would you be interested in that? Well, yeah. Okay, well, that's probably the case, right? They're probably able to get you more money than what my wholesaling company can offer you as an investor, because honestly, I'm not going to be the person to give you top dollar ever. Okay, because I'm a business and I need to make money, and we're taking on a lot of risk. Okay, and any investor is also going to take on a lot of risk when they come in and expose themselves to market forces, labor, capital, insurance costs, overhead costs for equipment and tools. all these different things to invest in your property to bring it up to its highest and best use. So if you're chasing the best possible price, best thing you could do right now is call somebody at the blimp, right? That is literally the easiest way to get the most money. And so that is another option that you guys have available to you as investors or as wholesalers is like, hey, you know, we got a lot of people calling us, but we can't help everybody. So why not reach out to a real estate agent or another member on your power team and share the wealth, right? Money's a team making sport. And so one of the things that we've understood is that when we get 1,300 calls, so many of those are not appropriate for a wholesaler or for an investor. And so now what we're trying to do is also package up those leads, and we're trying to get the ball rolling on making more use out of those leads and working with other realtors to hopefully get everybody sharing the wealth. And so I want to introduce that concept here as well, and just inspire anybody that may be thinking about being a wholesaler to not be so price fixated, because the reason you just heard there that Joe actually decided to work with Shahir and not to just, you know, think, wow, this guy's out to get people, is because Shahir was honest with him and transparent. And that's one of our core values at our company is truth, right? Hey, the reality is your house is in great shape. It's probably not very suitable for our strategy. You should probably list it, or at least consider listing it. And if you come back to me and tell me why you don't want to list it, now we can have a great conversation about a price and set of terms that work for you, right? And that's how we ethically move forward with private real estate deals in a way that is still profitable and everybody wins. Okay, so I think that that's a discussion that needs to be understood in this industry, is like wholesaling doesn't have to be unethical. Okay, I know there's a million videos right now, YouTube wholesaling, and it'll be like wholesaling, is it ethical? That's like the top video always, or how to do it, right? But just understand, there's many ways, and I believe my company does a great job at this, at ethically negotiating. And then when we can't help these people out that are calling us, we're going to do our best to refer them to a great realtor partner in the market. And better yet, sometimes we can even connect the dots, right? And that's what's happening with Shahir and Joe here, where they're actually able to, hey, I've got a buyer, you've got a deal, let's work together here, and we'll make sure that this fee gets wrapped into the deal and everybody gets to win, right? The seller got the price and terms that they want and agreed to. Joe gets to satisfy his client's needs, whether we're the client at that time or whether he's bringing us a buyer. Shahir obviously gets to eat then from the deal as well. And then we're generating and circulating a bunch of money in the economy after that. Okay. The investor is going to be paying land transfer tax. We're going to be paying the legal team. We're going to be paying closing costs, utility companies. Then we're paying contractors, drywallers, painters, electrical, kitchen, tile people, flooring people. Everybody's getting paid here. And it really actually does stimulate a much broader economy than I think what most people recognize. And that is the basis for what I say is our ethical and moral freaking duty to do more business. And this is one of the best ways that we can do it, is working together with power team members. Okay, you have a duty to do more for your community. And one of the best ways that you can do that is by generating income for that many people. Okay, so I'm going to pass you guys on to Rebecca. She's going to talk to you about how you can get involved in generating and circulating some capital right now.
100%. Now, one thing, Adam, that you actually mentioned here was you were highlighting the ethics side of wholesaling, and something that I really wanted to ensure that we did today is talk about that side of things. So we actually have Sheer Ethic on the call today. That is his Instagram handle on the page. And Shahir, I really want to hear from your side about your relationship in working with realtors, because you're one of the OGs on the team. You know, you are definitely one of the original wholesalers, and you've built your business in working with a lot of realtors and building out some of those strategic relationships, building out that trust, and really ensuring that everyone is winning at the end of the day. So Shahir, why don't you tell us a little bit about your side of things as a wholesaler and how you approach some of these relationships and situations?
Sounds good. Thank you so much for the introduction, Rebecca. I appreciate it. Hopefully everyone's having a good time. So for those who don't know, my name is Shahir Shahid. I've been in the game wholesaling for about a year and a half now, coming almost to 2 years. The time is going by very quick. And before I even actually got into wholesaling, I had no idea like what real estate wholesaling was, or even that it existed. And I didn't know which vehicle I needed to actually achieve financial freedom, right? So after talking with Adam Martin and Matt McKeever and joining the entire team, I was able to kind of learn so much more from Adam and Matt to actually build this wholesaling as a business rather than a job. So I really decided to focus more on delegation. Like that's my number one key, is really to just delegate all the tasks that I have. And I've noticed a lot of the times when I first started, there was a huge stigma between realtors and wholesalers. And I didn't understand that in the beginning until I actually started reaching out to different professionals and individuals and actually try to work out a win-win situation. So with me, just a quick background, I've done my first year over 6 figures and wholesale fees. I've done, I think, more than like 4 million in gross sales prices, and almost like, I believe it's 12 transactions my first year. So first year was really good for me. Second year has started off with a bang. I've got three deals so far in my second year of the first month of 2021. So I'm super psyched. To touch more on Rebecca's point right there, and actually how working with realtors has actually accelerated my business to another level. Most importantly, like Joe, we can probably go back and forth on this, but like me able to kind of delegate so many tasks to you, like the walkthroughs, right? So Joe, what he does a lot of the times is when I'm busy doing other tasks, because I have so many different territories I have to go to, what Joe will do for me is he'll walk through the property himself, right? He will FaceTime me or he will WhatsApp me and he'll go through the entire property. So whether I'm driving or I'm unable to be at that walkthrough, I'm still able to see the property and kind of have a good idea of like, okay, how much work it needs. And then he's also commenting on different stuff inside the house. So that gives me a good perspective. At the same time, the best part about it is I think Joe can even vouch for this. Joe, like I've probably made you write so many offers. Like if you can count how many offers I made you write, like it'll probably be so many. And I feel like it also has kind of helped you get over that learning curve on how to write a vendor take back, or how to kind of overcome objections that other listing realtors actually give you at the same time. So just having so many bullets, like what I like to say, so many bullets to overcome these objections, and really helping Joe at the same time with the negotiating and how to overcome. Because I believe there was a question in the chat where it said, what is your biggest challenge when it comes to sellers? Personally, my biggest challenge is the deposit, because obviously we give out low deposits, and I'm in KWC, Kitchener-Waterloo area, and over there, average home prices are around $700,000, and I'm giving $8,000 deposit down, right? So a lot of the homeowners are like, hey, are you serious in buying this property? Why is the deposit so low? And one of the main topics I'd like to kind of say is that, hey, at the end of the day, we give so many offers out on a daily basis that if I gave out, let's just say $20,000 deposits on each of the properties I offered on, I wouldn't have any money, right? So the fact that I need to be able to leverage my money and use it as a utility and leverage it to so many offers, it just gives them a good point of view of like, okay, he's getting a lot of business done. And at the same time, I have a lot of testimonials and referral numbers that I can kind of give out and get that done. So we're getting some questions in the chat. Joe, do you just want to riff back and forth on different processes that we have? We can start off with, what would you like to start off with, Joe?
Let's get rid of the elephant in the room and do the deposits first.
Let's do the deposits. Okay.
Yeah.
So Joe, the highest deposit that we've done together is $1,000, correct?
5,000 was the highest.
5,000. Okay. So
Yeah.
5,000. So, and the lowest is 500, I believe, correct?
Yes. Lowest was 500, but we also did a split deposit on the 5,000.
The tier deposit.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. So when you present the offer to the listing agent, right, and there's $500 for, let's just say, a $400,000 property, and the listing agent comes back to you and be like, hey, why is it so low? What do you say?
I tell him straight out that this gentleman is an investor, and if he put all of his ducks in one spot, he wouldn't have anything else to put anywhere else. So he's trying to get as much business as he can with the cash flow that he does have.
Beauty. Okay, sounds good. Now, another objection that I always get, and I'm assuming you get as well, is the other elephant in the room, which is the assignment clause, right? Why is there an assignment clause in the agreement? Is your buyer closing on it, or is someone else closing on it? So when they see the assignment clause, what do you say?
It depends on the realtor on that one. There are some that just will have nothing to do with it. And in that case, we come back with a different offer with the actual buyer of the property. Other realtors that are just having questions about it, I explain it to them that my buyer is the front runner for the investor to actually come through, and they want to assign it to their company or to the actual investor themselves after they've done their inspection
Right.
to make sure it's going to be worth their while. So I say that Shahir is just the front man.
Sounds good. Yeah, that's also what I'd say is that usually if I'm dealing to the seller directly, I'd be like, hey, if it's a multifamily property above, let's just say 6 units, then we close on it. But if it's below 6 units, we either assign it to our investors or give it to our partners. So those are the two ways we kind of overcome that objection. Were there any more objections, Joe? What was the recent objection that we had on a contract?
I think the seller thought the assignment clause was actually a condition of the contract, and it was not explained well by the real estate agent that was representing the seller.
Gotcha. And I've gotten so many questions, Joe, about like the process and the paperwork, more specifically on Instagram, is like, obviously you know this, when wholesalers or investors, when they work with realtors, the realtors want them to sign an important form, which is called the buyer's representation agreement. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, a buyer's representation agreement should only be for one transaction or one specific house when it comes to an investor. So you can sign it for multiple, but it would not make sense in the long scheme of things. What more commonly I do is I try to do the customer service agreement for the buyer. That way it's locked into one specific house for the duration of time, say up to 90 days for that one specific house.
Gotcha. And there's one more form, which is working with a realtor. You can outline that.
Yes, the working with the realtor form is basically stating what your position is on whether you're a client or a customer. As a client, you get a full duty of care. So you get any information the realtor will have about that property and will have about that property. As a customer, you don't get the same representation as that. So you get to know all of the patent and latent defects on anything that cannot be seen. So if they know about it, they have to disclose it. But if it's not something if it's something that's perfectly visible, then they don't have to disclose it. Or if it's a stigma, once again, for investors, most stigmas revolve around a death in the house, which that's not that big of an obstacle to overcome. Me personally, I don't even care about that obstacle. But overall, I try to give Shahir as much information about a property as I can so he can market it as well.
Sounds good. So just to touch base on the process, so if there are any wholesalers or investors on this call, I'll kind of go through from A to Z what my process is when working with Joe. So usually if we find a property, whether it's on market or off market, we get it under contract, right? We have it on paper. From there on, if it's off market, then what Joe would do is Joe would make me sign what is called a customer service agreement, which just outlines that I am a customer to the brokerage, not a client. So I have different responsibilities towards the brokerage, and the brokerage has different responsibility towards me. So I'm not locked down. And specifically, there's something called the geographic location, which is only kind of attached to that address. So the realtor can't come back to me and say that, hey, you bought another property, because that's out of his jurisdiction almost, right? So after I sign the customer service agreement, in that form, there's also the cooperation paper, which outlines how the realtor is going to get paid. And in that case, all the forms are signed, and on the closing date, once we do assign it to the end buyer, the brokerage invoices my lawyer the commission, right? The cooperation, the confirmation of cooperation, and my lawyer gives out their commission, and I follow up with my lawyer as well, just to make sure, right? Remax, Joe's brokerage will be reaching out to you. The commission would be paid out at this much on closing, so everyone is on the same page. It just makes the process less hassle, and everyone's in the clear. So that's kind of my process. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat below. But yeah, aside from that, especially with working with realtors in general, I've noticed that there's two sides of the story. One side is the representation, and the other side is the buyer side. So the representation side is when the realtor represents me. On the buyer side is when the realtor brings me a buyer, right? So those two processes are different. I can touch base on either or. Sorry, was there a question? I guess we'll go through that
thanks
later.
so much for riffing on that little chat there, Joe.
Yep.
and Shahir. So one thing that I'm gonna challenge all of you guys with, because we love to do social media, it's a great way to connect with all of you. So I want you guys to get out your phones, take a little screen capture of our presentation tonight, and tag us on social media, and we will tag you back in our stories. So here is Joe's Instagram. So make sure you tag Joe, and Shahir's Instagram as well. And I'm just going to go back. I'll come back to this slide so you can take a photo of it. I'll go back to this one. So at Adam JD Martin and at Rebecca Lynn Matheson, make sure that you guys tag us as well. And again, we will post your tag. Just make sure you do that in your story or on your wall. So guys, what we're going to do now is just to go through our agenda real quick. So we're going to move into our question and answer. So we've seen some fantastic questions come up in the chat box. So we're going to address some of those now. Also, if you guys want to raise your virtual hand, then you can actually unmute yourself and pop on. So if you guys want to give me a little reaction, a little thumbs up, so I know you're still alive and with us. And so that if you missed that opportunity to take a photo and post on Instagram, those slides will be back up at the end of today's presentation. So let's get into our question and answer. So guys, again, arch nemesis or BFFs, still to be determined. Let's discuss it. So guys, we have a question here from LB. It's a nice and long question. So LB, I'm gonna actually have you jump on, unmute yourself, and why don't you just ask this question live, and we can definitely service this and answer. So between Joe, Shahir, Adam, and myself, one of the four of us will hop on whenever appropriate to answer any and all of your questions. If you have a direct question to one of us, just make sure you shout that out. Okay, so LB says, can't unmute right now, so I'm just gonna be your voice, LB. So the question here is, do you have sellers backing out or wanting more money once they know you're selling their property for more and possibly making more than a 5% commission on their property? To prevent that from happening, do you sign two separate agreements so the seller doesn't see how much of a finder's fee you're making? Do you and the seller use the same lawyer? Do you put a condition on the, I believe that is meant to say APS agreement, to assign the property over to someone else, and the dollar difference over the seller's asking price you get as an assignment fee? Is there a base percentage that you use to determine your wholesale fee, and how much lawyer fees do you pay for wholesaling? So there's a lot of questions to unload in that.
I got this. That was a lot.
I got this too.
LB, you're paying extra for this webinar. But here's the answer, guys. Transparency is going to solve so many of these problems. Okay, so one of the things that we really focus with on our team is being very clear about what we're doing. Hey, we are looking for properties that we can add strategic value to. That includes buildings where we can look at, having renovations on kitchens, bathrooms, bedrooms, flooring, lighting, landscaping, paint, all that stuff. Okay. Now what's likely going to happen here is I'm going to come through. It's going to take 10 to 15 minutes for a walkthrough, and I'm going to get a great understanding of what condition your building's in. And I'm going to do my research to understand what recent relevant sales in your neighborhood have been going for, so that I can compare the value, okay, of your house in its current state to the value of renovated houses that are selling in your area. Okay. That's going to give me the valuation of the building today. Now, what I do as a company is I'm likely going to assign this or work with a financial partner. Okay, so what that's going to look like is I'm going to tie up the contract, and we're going to agree to a price and terms that work for you today. Okay, based on whatever the why is, right? So our whole pitch is discovering the motivation behind why they're looking to sell today and figuring out what solutions work for that, and then communicating with them very clearly that there will actually be a couple people walking through the property, right? These are either going to be the financial partners or the assignees. Now, when we actually do this transaction, of course, I'm not doing this for free. I've already told you, I'm a business. I don't get out of bed for free. I don't leave the house for free. I don't do anything for free. Okay. So what I'm doing for you today is solving the problems that we've just talked about. And quite often that's, death, divorce, job loss, need to move very quickly, right? There's all sorts of reasons why somebody wants to deal with a wholesaler. Okay. And, or maybe I just had a bad experience with a real estate agent before. Okay. That's fine. There's bad apples in every group. So first of all, that's probably a crazy reason, but if you really don't want to do that, then fine. We will absolutely work with you. One of the other big things is a lot of people get embarrassed about their situation, right? A lot of people are experiencing a heavy degree of anxiety, potentially depression from it, right? They're upset about where they let things get to. Okay. The mold on the walls, the pipes that are frozen and burst, and the water damage that it caused that was never fixed. Okay. The leaking roof and the ceiling and the drywall and the lath and plaster that could be dropping from the ceiling because there's been so much moisture coming in. That stuff compounds and it weighs on people. And by the time they've lived in that for a year or a couple years or a few years, okay, I know this because I've lived in it. Right? Once that's happened for enough time, you start getting very closed off to solutions about this stuff. And you do not want it put on a circus. You do not want to put that in front of the public. You don't want your neighbors, your family, your friends, your coworkers, everybody seeing the condition that your building is in. Okay? It's horrible shit. And that's why people will call us and say, listen, I understand I'm not getting top dollar. Okay, that's fine. I've come to terms with that in my situation. Or if they haven't fully come to terms with that, it can be sometimes our duty to help them get to that conclusion. Hey, what I don't want you to do is walk away from this negotiation with nothing. Okay, you should either work with us on finding a solution that is a price and terms that works for this deal, or please, for the love of God, let me bring one of the realtors I know can sell this thing for you to the house. He will have buyers. He can take care of this for you and allow you to move forward in life. Okay. So one of the misconceptions that I can tell that is probably setting in with this type of a question that's being asked here is, again, focusing on price. Price is not everything, guys. A lot of people are motivated much more deeply by things that are not related to the absolute highest price. Okay. And I know this because it took us years and years and years and years and years for my mom to finally come to terms and sell our house that we grew up in. Mold, frozen pipes, things bursting, right? Damaged everything. The flooring, the walls, the drywall, the leaky faucets. Hey, turn that faucet off because it's always leaking. Right? The mold in the bedroom. I remember all this shit. We talked about selling forever, for years. We knew it was the right thing to do. We knew that we could financially benefit because the market had appreciated and there was lots of equity there, right? We knew all these things and it still took years to come to terms with it. And that is something that I don't know that everybody can fully understand if you've never been in that situation, but it's something that I make sure to communicate on almost a weekly basis to my company and my people, because it's so important to realize that while you may be financially motivated and that's the biggest thing holding you back right now in life, it is absolutely not the case for everybody. right? There are people that do not want the neighbors to know that they're getting a divorce because they're living probably a bit of a lie with themselves, and they're trying to uphold their social status, right? That's a common one that we see. Now, I'm not going to try and rip them out of their social status. I'm just going to say, okay, but you understand that we are not going to get you top market dollar. If you want that, you should call the blimp. And this is a conversation we always want to have, so that when they find out that we got paid for it, what did we get paid for? We got paid to help you solve a problem, right? What was that worth to you? Is it worth what we're getting paid? Is it worth you agreeing to the price and terms that are here on this contract right now? Because if so, let's work together. If not, here's a name and number of somebody to call. Call Rob Richards. He'll list it right now, sell it for you for way more than what I'll pay, right? Another realtor on this call. Okay, call Joe. He will literally bring you more money. It's a fact. It's just it's science, but you're probably going to have to list it. You're probably going to have some people look at it. And if you just want to get this done today, we're here for you. So that's one thing. And then the final answer there. So lawyer fees. Again, I always make fun of the lawyers too, because they don't get paid anything. And it's just such an easy and cheap shot. Everybody's got the expert fallacy with the lawyers. They don't get paid anything for real estate. They're so cheap. So every transaction we do from a wholesaling perspective is like $400. Okay. Every transaction we do from a closing perspective, when we actually acquire the building, no more than $1,500. Okay. Very cheap for those services. Now you get yourself in litigation, you get yourself into the courtroom. That's when the lawyer gets to laugh at you and really start charging, but just do your paperwork right? And don't screw people over. Be a good person. That's how you avoid those fees. And then is there a base percentage that you use to determine your wholesale fee? No. The wholesale fee is generally determined. Okay. It is a bit of a formula, but it's loose. It's a formulaic art. Okay. So there's the after repair value, which is the price that the building's going to be worth at its highest and best use based on comparable sales or an income approach. Okay. Then there's what it's going to take to get this building from its current fair market value, which is the value of the building today, to get to that highest and best use. Okay. And we need to also factor in then the profit of our investor, as well as the profit of ourselves as the wholesaler. Okay. So when you're making this offer, you need to take into consideration what are the recent relevant sales for the future value of this building, what conditions this building in today, how much is it going to cost roughly for those renovations to occur, and what do I want to profit, and what do I know that my buyer wants to profit as well. And then if you're working with a realtor, obviously they need to get paid as well. Okay, so everybody needs to get paid. How are we going to work this out? Usually it's by solving massive problems and arriving at solutions for your seller. That's how you get a competitive price that allows you to pay everybody involved and still create a win-win for everybody. Okay, so I've done this before. This is how I got the vendor take back. All right, I went out and I shopped rents for the guy that I was buying from. Okay, took him to 3 different apartments around the city that were centrally located for groceries and other types of amenities that he would need as somebody that valued physical proximity to those services, because he had not actual disabilities, but he was getting there. Okay, he was getting physically disabled over time, his back or something like that. So he didn't want stairs. He wanted to be close to all the things that he would need in life. And he also wanted a stable paycheck. What's the way that I can do that? Well, in this case, I overpaid him, but I got the best terms in the world. Okay. And so there's always price and terms. Those are the 2 things you can pull on. And for every time that you pull on price, there's an equal and opposite reaction on the terms. Okay. And vice versa. So it's physics in your deal, but if you pull on price, you have to drop then the toggle on terms. And there's always a combination there that can win for you. And when there isn't, that's when you refer out. That's when you call somebody else that can help them better. And the reality is we just need to arrive at a solution. Okay. Because by the time they've called you, they've been thinking about this forever and probably worked up the courage a bunch of times, but didn't actually go through with it. So that's why on my company, I literally say, like, this is your freaking duty, is answer the call as if you're saving somebody's life, because you probably are. Who the hell calls a handwritten letter out of their mailbox to sell their house? That's insane. Okay. People that need to be helped do that. And also people that are motivated for alternative solutions, right? Maybe they've had relationships with a real estate agent or somebody else like that before, and they don't trust them. Okay, let's talk about that. And then if it comes down to it that we still need to work with one, right? We need to actually partner up with somebody. We can at least give them the trust that, hey, I heard you out and I understand that there are bad apples, but I don't hang out with bad apples, or otherwise I wouldn't be successful and I wouldn't have this type of network. So here's a realtor that I know, like, and trust, and that I think you should do business with. And by the way, we've done 12 deals with them, right? Fantastic. What better testimonial could I give than I have done business with this person? There's no better testimonial than that. And even though I'm a stranger, I've taken the time to listen and understand their why. So that's unpacking your question and probably pushing us over time. But I think all that stuff needs to be said to really understand how wholesaling works. It's not just, hey, go and murder the price, right? Drop the price 100K. And this is the worst thing too that investors talk about. It's like, I want 60 cents on the dollar. Well, fuck off. So does everybody else, and nobody's selling for 60 cents on the dollar. That's so ridiculous. Okay. Listen to your sellers and actually actively hear what they're saying, and then use that information to benefit both of you, right? Create a set of price and terms that is going to be a winning combination for everybody. All right.
Absolutely. Now, Adam, you had actually, mentioned something there. We send out letters that are handwritten. Now, you would expect that people wouldn't call, but how many hundreds of calls have we received even this year? Like there are tons of motivated sellers out there that are reaching out for alternative solutions and who are seeking someone to talk to about their problems. Now we have a few more questions here, and I know some of them have been answered in the chat. This one I do actually want to highlight out loud. So Krunel just asked, I was wondering, would I get a commission if I get a buyer for a wholesale deal, and how much? So Joe, I believe you actually answered this already in the chat, but you basically highlighted the fact that, if you have a buyer on a wholesale deal, you can speak with the wholesaler about the commission and include it with the assignment fee, or have the buyers pay it directly. So there's a few options there. We are definitely always looking to create strategic partnerships. Now, to tell you guys a little bit about what I do on the team. So I'm actually the disposition specialist. So that means that every single deal that our wholesalers get an agreement of purchase and sale for, I connect with our buyers and I basically connect them with the deals. So I get to connect with all of our real estate investors on a regular day-to-day basis. And what I can say is that there isn't a limit of buyers, but there is a limit of deals. Right now in the market, the way that things are trending is that there isn't a whole lot of inventory right now on the market, let alone off market. So as soon as we do get a deal, it does tend to go quickly. Now, when we're working with realtors, we're very open to that, and we're very open to your suggestions about what would work for you, because we want to create a win-win situation. So at the end of the day, like, if you want to put your commission on top of the wholesale fee, if you want to get a certain amount out of it, well, okay, just have that discussion very openly, truthful, and transparent with your buyer and with all parties. And we can always come to a solution together if it makes sense for the deal. We have a few more questions coming in here. So we have some questions about deposits, and Shahir and Joe, you've been, and even Adam, you've all been super active in answering a lot of these questions. So I'm just going to scroll through here and highlight just a few more questions, because we're getting a bunch more at the bottom here. Let's see. Are you sending out letters only for distressed properties, or just to a certain zip code? So we send letters to just a huge range. We actually do it through Canada Post, so we're not targeting necessarily a certain property by any means. It's going out to a large street, a large area, large graphic, a whole entire city, sometimes a whole entire town. So that's all done through Canada Post. So it's not like we're going out and hand delivering all of those letters. And then those sellers are actually dialing us up and connecting with us about their property and about their needs.
So
We have a
real quick,
question. Yep.
The comment you made about inventory on market. In the
Yeah.
London area, all the stats were just posted for January, and we only
Yeah.
have 3 weeks worth of inventory on market.
0.7 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no
Jeez.
inventory.
What that means is that if no houses were to go on the market from now till the end of the month, we would have 0 inventory. There would be no houses for sale on market.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's wild.
London's absolutely mental right now. I was reviewing those stats yesterday. Thank you, Elstar, and they are unreal. They're just incredible.
There is
Which
a
brings us to
video.
deals, for God's sakes. Talk about some deals that we actually have. There's got to be somebody in here that wants to buy a property. Are you guys all
Absolutely. So
here to learn
speaking
about
of
realtors?
inventory, we've got some inventory. So let me just talk through some of the deals that we have. I know that we haven't been able to get to every single one of the questions, but I know that Joe, Shahir, and Adam have all been super active in the chat. So if we do miss any of your questions, feel free to reach out to us or submit those questions through the survey link that I'm going to be sending you following this webinar, because we actually build the topics based off of the feedback that you guys bring. So we want to continue to bring value to you guys in addition to talking about our fantastic flippin' deals. All right, guys, let's get through it. So before I get into that, just a real quick reminder, here is our link to our vacation off-market deals list. This is cottagebuyers.com/private deals. And I won't be talking about it on today's webinar, but I will be releasing a new cottage deal very shortly to that list. So stay tuned. If you're not already on the list, make sure you get on it, because that is going to be hype in 2021. We have a lot of people who had travel plans that were absolutely canceled. I'm in that boat. I was supposed to go to South Africa last year. I was a week away from flying, and then the lockdown and COVID hit. So I'm not alone in that. A lot of people are changing travel plans, and a lot of people have had to adjust. So that changes the dynamic of vacations, and a lot of people are actually vacationing in Canada, in Ontario, staying here at home. So there's a huge opportunity now for investors to strategically add value and buy into some of these vacation properties. So cottagebuyers.com, you can go to, and we will have off-market properties there for you guys. So stay tuned. We got a deal coming up very shortly. Here's our main off-market buyers list. So this is mattmckeever.com/private deals. Adam highlighted Matt at the beginning of this chat. If you're not already following Matt, make sure you do. Matt McKeever on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube. He is the largest YouTuber in all of Canada in the world of real estate investing, and certainly on there giving out free content and information daily. Last year, he pumped out a video a day, and it was absolutely incredible to see. He is a very hard worker and really looking to add value in every relationship that he's in. So make sure that you are following his content and following Matt on Instagram. Again, the link to our private deals list is mattmckeever.com/private deals. Again, a couple of announcements. So we are growing and expanding as we move into some of these new markets, including cottages. We're looking to actually hire some more wholesalers as well as admin people. So we're looking for some killer admin or sales people to take on roles like mine, who will be able to come in and just be a badass on our team. So if that's you, if you're looking for a change, you don't have to have experience. I came from fitness, and we're just looking for good people. So if you're looking to step into something new, make sure you reach out to us at Rebecca Lynn Matheson on Instagram, or at Adam JD Martin. We also have our Problems or Profits merch that you can see us wearing all of the time. So teespring.com/stores/Matt McKeever merch. So make sure you check that out as well. Again, feedback, guys. We're always looking for your feedback so we can continue to build quality content for you guys as we talk about our deals. So speaking of deals, I am just going to screen share with you guys here, just another screen so that you guys can actually see the deals. So now that we can all see your beautiful faces, make sure you give another thumbs up in the meantime. If you're super excited for the deals, maybe throw in a little smiley face. Love it. Benjamin, love it. Josh, Martin, killer. All right, guys, let's get into these deals. So I'm just going to share a screen, and we're going to actually start from the email that I sent out. So if you're not on our buyers list, we'll make sure that you are at the end of today. So I actually sent this email out earlier today. So we have a list of all of the different deals. Now, I'm going to give you a broad overview of all of them and then go into the specifics. So this is 3678 Concession Drive in Glencoe. It's up for $280. The wholesale fee is actually included in that, and it's a $10K wholesale fee. This is tenanted. It's a 3-bed, 1-bath, 1.5 bath property. It would make a great BRRRR. There are some renovations still to be completed. So the owner is an electrician, and he's done a lot of the fixtures, he actually has a whole new hydro pole outside of the property. And it was actually recently appraised last month. Again, renovations still ensuing, but the appraisal came in at 310 without the property even being fully renovated. So the estimated repair value on this is close to that 340 range based off of comparables. Now this is Glencoe, so you're not going to find a ton of relevant comparables in a town with 8,000 people. So fantastic opportunity though for an investor to come in that lower price range, certainly. Next one that we have here, this is 231 Bright Street in Sarnia. So this is 180K. Again, wholesale fee is already worked into that. It's 10K. Now note, this deal was actually on market for 190K. We got it locked up for 170. So that 10K wholesale fee is on that. So this is actually a single family home. It's going to be vacant on possession. The seller, it's actually his son living in the property. So he will be moving out upon closing. This is a 3-bed, 1-bath property. Absolutely great BRRRR, flip, or buy and hold opportunity. Estimated after repair value. Now we actually have several comps really, really close by, literally within like 250 meters, 500 meters for that 250K range and above. So that's a very conservative after repair value once you go in and do some strategic renovations with this deal. We're also looking at Chesapeake in Scarborough. So this deal actually had a price drop. The reason for that is we're just looking to move this really quickly. We have a really motivated seller here, so we're looking to get a motivated investor into this deal. So this is now at 787. It's a semi-detached with a secondary suite. It is currently tenanted, but will be vacant on possession. Anytime you see that as an investor, green lights, because you can go right in and do strategic renovations immediately. And that's a huge, huge value add for an investor. And now that's not to say if your strategy is a buy and hold and you've already got good tenants, then half the work's already done for you. But in this case, it's vacant on possession. You can actually go in and just do a few strategic renovations. This is actually in pretty good shape, actually, significantly under market value. We talked about inventory not too long ago. I've been talking with several realtors this past week who have said that there is literally no inventory in this area in Scarborough right now. So this is a fantastic opportunity for just about anyone who's buying in Scarborough. Now, this is another property which I love. It's 747 Moonstone Road in Coldwater. This also another property that we're looking to move quickly. So it's now at 810, 25K price drop on that one. This is 48 acres of land. And one of my favorite features is there's actually a river on the property, which you can fish for salmon and trout. And the master bedroom overlooks the river. This is one of those properties too. And we have a huge array of comparable sales. 1.1 million is the estimated after repair value, but that actually could go up more and more if you do some landscaping around the property. Because you have 48 acres, you could actually turn that into a lot of usable land. Now we do actually have a few investors coming in since we did that price drop. We have multiple investors coming in on Saturday. It's all by appointment only, so you do need to book ahead and contact me if you have any questions or if you would like to see any of these properties. I will say a lot of our properties have gone sight unseen this year already. We've had a lot of motivated buyers because of the lack of inventory, but we're always open to ensuring that you get all of the information that you need. And if part of that is you wanting to walk through the property, then we will absolutely ensure that that happens if and whenever possible. Another property that we have here is an eightplex in Trenton. Now, we originally got this property under contract back in December, but we've since then actually renegotiated this deal. It used to come with a garage. So we actually got a significant price drop, a $90K price drop on this deal without including that garage. It was actually 2 plots of land, but this deal is actually way sweeter without that garage, because what it does is it brings down the per unit total to $71K per unit, which is like unheard of for a multifamily. That is, when we're talking about cents on the dollar, like this is a fantastic multifamily opportunity. So there's 6 1-bed units and 2 2-bed units. We do have some financials for this property. If you're interested, let me know and I can send that to you following this webinar. Couple that we recently assigned in addition to others, but these were actually just deals assigned yesterday, so I just wanted to highlight them. But our Clinton deal is gone. That went quite quickly, and our $1.6 million 16-unit apartment building is also gone. That one actually went sight unseen. So again, if you have any questions about any of these deals, I have sent out this list to our buyers list earlier today. So what you'll see a full buyers package. There's a link to all of the deals with the full buyers package, as well as a folder with photos. So we really do our due diligence, and we have a full property walkthrough and a checklist that we go through in detail with that seller, just so that we can ensure that we're getting all of the information to the investors. So this is that Sarnia property, Bright Street. Again, fantastic single family flipper or buy and hold, pretty much any strategy. All of the investing strategies would work with this one. I love Sarnia because there's just like such a great opportunity for investments. One thing that I will note too, if you're looking for more information about the markets, on my Instagram, if you're not already following, we actually have market updates that are posted very regularly so that you guys can understand a little bit more about what's going on. So what I actually do is I get our wholesaler that is wholesaling in that region to come on the Instagram TV video with me, and we talk in depth with a little bit of an overview about the location. So definitely check that out. I've recently released a video about Scarborough, which I call Scarby. No one else does apparently, but I do. So Scarby, if you guys are looking to find out more about it, then make sure that you follow Mike Nowicki as well as myself. He is definitely in that region right now, and we're looking to tie up some more deals there. So again, if you want these packages and more details about any of the deals presented on tonight's webinar, make sure that you shoot me a message following. Again, at Rebecca Lynn Matheson is the best place to find me. Also, deals@impactclick.com. That is the email address that you can also get a hold of me through. I regularly check that, as that's where we send our deals to. Here is that Instagram handle, as well as the Instagram handle for Adam JD Martin. So make sure that you take photo, tag us in it, and problems or profits, guys. One thing that I do want to say, thank you so much to Shahir. So give a little round of applause or use your reaction feature. Thank you so much to Shahir and Joe for coming on and talking about realtors versus wholesalers, friend or foe. I really, really enjoy discussing these types of topics, and also just opening up the conversation so that we can get to know each other a little bit better, understand what each and every person's why is, and really all get along and work together well, because success is not a limited resource, guys, and we're definitely looking to work with you. So let's work together, guys. Problems or profits. And Adam, I'm gonna pass it over to you just to close us off here.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I always like to, just give you guys the real gratitude and appreciation that I have for all of you staying tuned for this long on a Wednesday evening. You could have been on any corner of this internet watching kittens and all sorts of hilarious stuff on the internet. But instead, tonight, you are here developing yourselves personally and professionally to get better and more prepared for what lies in your future, which is more negotiations, more offers, more paperwork, more challenges, more opportunities, and more problems that you can turn into profits. So thank you all for being here. And if you are looking for the playback of this recording, it will be posted on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/AdamJDMartin. And you will be able to find that there no later than Friday this week. And so you can also watch all of our previous recordings from our webinars live there on the channel. And parental warning, if you're going to venture off of the webinars, I do get a little crazy in some of my talks. So yeah, PG for sure on the swearing and stuff, but we're pretty passionate about what we do. And sometimes that comes through the language. So thanks again for all of you tuning in. Thank you, Joe, for coming on this webinar and sharing your experience with us and teaching us a bit more about how we can better work with realtors. I think they're friends, not foes. Someone to be very aligned with as part of your power team and somebody that can help you to build your business into something bigger. Okay, so happy business building. We will see you guys all next week on Wednesday at 6 p.m. You know we'll be here. Check in with Eventbrite for more details on that. And in the meantime, if you need more self-study, if you need to learn more, go to Matt McKeever's YouTube channel, okay, youtube.com/Matt McKeever, or sign up to Cashflow Tribe, okay? I'm of course biased because we do produce a lot of content for them, but they are one of the most fantastic resources any of you can find yourself benefiting from if you're a Canadian real estate investor. So get in there. There's daily trainings there. There's everything you would ever possibly want to know, every nut and bolt you've ever thought about for all of the strategies. And they are, of course, affiliated with us, but they're not paying me to say it. So get over there. I truly believe it can help you out. And thank you so much for tuning in. Good night, everybody.
Night, guys. See you on the next one.
Good night. Alrighty.
Y'all have a great evening.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.